class here, fractions are not so bad. Okay, and you do not want to skip this step. You want to write that down. I see students wanting to skip that step, but it's a very important step because here you're multiplying 2 times 7, and here you're multiplying 5 times 3. And it's easy to mess it up if you don't have those numbers written down. Okay? Alright. Next problem. Here we have negative 7 over 3 minus parentheses negative 3 over 2. Now, right away, what can we do with these negatives in between the first and the second number? What can we do with those? Minus a negative 3 over 2. What can we do with that? Can we change these? Well, but even before that, what can we do with these signs? Let's get these signs cleaned up. Plus, right? Change the minus sign to a plus. Change the sign in this next term. Okay, so now we can say negative 7 over 3 plus 3 over 2. And that just kind of makes it a little bit easier to work with. Move this plus over. Alright, now we need common denominator, right? Which is going to be what? 6, right? So we got to multiply the first fraction by what? 2 over 2. Good. And the next one, we're going to multiply what for a common denominator? 3 over 3, right. Okay, so that would be negative 7 times 2 is negative 14 over 3 times 2 is 6. And mentally in your mind, you should be saying these numbers out loud in your mind. And when you do that, you're less likely, first of all, it'll be clear in your mind what you're doing, and you'll be less likely to make a mistake when you work it through like that. 3 times 3, 9, 2 times 3 is 6. Okay? And so now we have a negative 14 and a positive 9. That'll give us a positive or a negative? Negative 5 over 6. And that's our answer. Okay, so far we haven't had to simplify any answers.
I was going to ask you about that.
But it's possible that you may have to simplify. If you can simplify, then you have to simplify.
All right, when you simplify, you still keep the same like the minus?
Yeah, you would keep the same, yes, you keep the same
stuff.
sign. It's going to be just, the numbers are just going to be changed. The sign will stay the same. Okay, any other questions there? Alright. So, let's come back here for a second. The process here is the same as far as the signs go, if we did not have denominators. If we just had negative 7 minus negative 3, we would still change the signs just like we would with fractions. Okay, that process is still the same. So what's different is we would have to find a common denominator. Okay, here we have a negative 5 over 16 plus 3. Let me move this over, give myself some room. 3 over 4 minus 7 over 8. Now, can we multiply something times 4 to give us 16? Yeah. Can we multiply something times 8 to give us 16? Yeah. So we can multiply, so our common denominator is going to be 16, right? So we can multiply what times 3/4? 4 over 4, right. And 7/8? 2 over 2, good. Okay, so this will be, again, you're saying this mentally in your head, negative 5 over 16 plus 3 times 4 is 12 over 4 times 4 is 16 minus 7 times 2 is 14, over 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, so now, any questions up to that point? Alright, so now we're going to start going from left to right. Look at that. Negative 5 and positive 12, and that's going to give us a what? A positive 7 over 16 minus 14 over 16. Now, do you see why I have you do 2 at a time? Because you're being consistent. Before, when we just had integers and no denominator, it was a little easier. But now that we have fractions, you're still doing it the same way, and you're being consistent. And when you do that, you're more likely to work through the problem correctly and not make a mental error. Okay, so now we have 7 minus 14, and if you want to change that minus sign to a plus, change the sign to the next number, we can do that. So now we got a positive 7 and negative 14, and that gives us a what? Negative 7 over 16. Check to see if we can simplify, which cannot, and that's our answer.
That's not all the plus sign.
What?
The plus sign thing change you.
If you can do it, like this without changing it, that's fine. You can. This is just a help, an aid for you to work through it. Like if you can do it just as, if you can do this just as a minus, fix that, a minus 14. Like if you can do it just like that without changing the signs, that's fine. You can do it.
I'm still having problems telling the difference, you know, like coming out positive and negative answers.
Okay. Well, you're looking at with their opposite, right?
Yeah.
With their opposite signs, you adding or subtracting.
Yeah, opposite sign.
Opposite signs, you're going to add or subtract. Well, you've got 14 negatives and 7 positives. So that means you're going to have 21 negatives or positives? Or is it going to be subtracting?
I mean, you always take the positive, right? I mean, if it's more negative than it is positive, you can take the negative, right?
That's right. So which one do we, that's right, if it's more negative than there is positive, you take the sign of whatever there's more of. So there's more negative here, right? There's 14 negatives and 7 positives. If you were to write this down, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 negatives, right? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positives, right? So the negatives and the positives, when they're together, they cancel out. These two go together, they cancel. These two cancel, 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 cancel. And you just keep right on going all the way down. And what you're going to have left is you're going to have 7 negatives left. Okay? And so, you've got more negatives, right, than you have positives, so that's why you're going to end up with a negative. Alright? Any other questions there? Okay. It's good to clear